Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to talk about Adam from the Garden of Eden and the lessons that you can learn from him and how you can apply it to your everyday life. So if that sounds good, let's jump straight into it.
I and the Father are one.
Now it's really important to study these biblical figures because there's a lot of wisdom and knowledge that you can obtain from them. Now in case you've been living underneath a rock and you don't know who Adam is, he was the first human ever created by God. He was also the first human to have a direct relationship with God. When God created him, he placed him in charge of the garden, tending to the plants, naming the animals, and taking care of general errands that Eden required. Adam was given complete freedom. However, he was given one forbidden commandment: do not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. God then noticed that Adam was lonely, and thus he created Eve from the rib of Adam, leading to the stage being set for human companionship. The two lived peacefully in the garden. However, one day, a snake convinced Eve to eat a fruit from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. She then offered some of the fruit to Adam, which he agreed to, despite God's warning. Once God reappeared and they realized they disobeyed God, Adam tried to blame Eve for consuming the fruit, and Eve blaming the snake. Due to their disobedience, they were both expelled from the garden, and as a result, sin entered the world and into our human nature. Now I'm sure most of you are familiar with that story, but it's always worth repeating it for newcomers. But if we examine Adam's character and look at the pros and cons, we can really get some wisdom from his story. So let's begin with the pros, starting with human dignity. Much like all of us, Adam was made in the image of God, symbolizing inherent value, worth, and dignity, meaning there should be respect and appreciation for all human life, especially in today's society. Now sadly, that doesn't really happen now, does it? Most people today don't respect anyone and they're more selfish than ever. But that doesn't mean you have to behave the same way. So the lesson here is every human has innate value and they're made in the image of God. Recognize every individual's value regardless of status, ethnicity, gender or belief, because we're all the same. So treat each other well and treat each other with respect. Next, moral freedom and choice. Adam's existence in Eden highlights that humans are given the freedom to choose their actions. This free will sets the stage for moral responsibility. Every day you will make decisions in your life, and it's up to you to choose to make the right decisions or the wrong ones. Make decisions that help everyone, decisions that lead to respect, integrity, honor, and that offer value and improve the world. Remember, our choices have consequences, so do your best to make the right choices. If you make the wrong choice once in a while, that's okay. You know, we're all human. Just reflect on it, see what you did wrong, and then going forward, don't repeat that same mistake. Next, the value of relationships. Adam's loneliness before Eve's creation suggests that human beings are inherently relational, social creatures. Life's meaning is often enriched by friends, family, companionship, community, and cooperation. In the current world, social isolation is increasing massively. Do everything you can to build and nurture those relationships. Remember, if you don't spend time on your relationships, they will fade out. Surround yourself with good people and then make sure you make an effort to maintain and keep those relationships going. Remember, you only need one good family member or one good friend to be extremely fortunate. So just one good relationship, because most people don't have that out there. And most people don't make any effort, but make sure you don't behave the same way. Find good people and then build those relationships and nurture them as time goes on. Next, Adam cared for the garden. Adam cared and looked after the Garden of Eden. He attended to the plants and animals throughout his time there, and that suggests that you also should look after your environment. Look after the plants, look after the planet, look after the animals, etc. Everything that God has given us, we must take care of it, just as Adam did in the garden. Now moving on to the negatives. First, consequences of disobedience or moral failure. Now by eating the forbidden fruit, Adam illustrates how deliberate wrongdoing can lead to loss, hardship, and sometimes irreversible outcomes. His fall shows that actions have lasting consequences, both for oneself and for others. Now in life, we all make bad decisions, so we're guilty of doing this as well. But we need to understand that sometimes these decisions that we make can have long-term negative effects, not only on us, but also our loved ones. Daily reflection and improvement can help us make better decisions that empower ourselves and those around us. Next time you make an important decision, remember Adam's mistake, and then decide cautiously and pick the correct course of action. Next, blame shifting and avoidance of responsibility. Now when God confronted Adam about eating the fruit, Adam blames Eve and also indirectly blames God by stating the following: "The woman you gave me as a companion, she gave me the fruit from the tree, and yes, I ate it. This evasion of accountability is a timeless human flaw and something we all must get rid of. If we make a mistake, we must own up to it and take responsibility. We live in a culture today where we try to shift the blame onto anyone else but ourselves. We must humble ourselves, own up to our shortcomings, and then improve. Perhaps if Adam was more forthcoming, admitted his mistake, and owned up to it, maybe God would have responded differently. And finally, lack of moral discernment and giving in to temptation. Adam's participation in the act of eating the fruit suggests a moral failure in discernment, in identifying what is right and wrong. It also shows that he is weak when it comes to temptation, like we all are, to be fair. All of you listening to this, including me, are going to face so much temptation throughout our life going forward. During these periods, we must remain strong and resist that temptation in order to make the right decision. Now, in the modern world, there is so many temptations and influences out there. I mean, we're talking about social media, TV, politics, music, the internet, smartphones, peer pressure, societal pressure, etc. It's important all of you develop critical thinking skills, moral discernment, and get used to social pressure, especially from a temptation perspective. Each time a new temptation comes up, resist it. And you know, the funny thing is, the more you do it, the easier it gets over time. So stay strong. If you can face temptation and still make the right decision, oof, you've got a superpower. Because you'll be able to make decisions under intense pressure, decisions that will protect you, and decisions that will help you avoid harmful situations. So this is definitely a skill you want to acquire. But there you have it. Those were the lessons from Adam. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe because we're covering Eve next.